Hello, and welcome to Brain Trust Live number 47.
This week on the podcast, even I sat through the gayest Super Bowl on record.
We had more Senate hearings, this time with fewer compliments.
The economy's in the shitter, but as always, it means nothing, so just keep shopping.
Obama introduces all of his policy proposals in an attempt to preempt the coming sequestration war with something productive.
The NRA released an enemy list, which included such relevant targets as Boyz II Men, Garfunkel and NSync.
Plus, in honor of Hillary Clinton's fond farewell, check out our blog post this week and follow us on Twitter. This is Brain Trust Live. Well, Lila and I just got done watching the gayest Super Bowl.
That's right.
On record.
The gayest Super Bowl on record. It was still very football-y, unfortunately.
It wasn't as gay as one would potentially like it.
It wasn't as gay as I would have liked it because it still involved various football-related things.
Sure. But it was a good game.
Brent tells me so.
It was a good game. It was one of our friends is from Northern California.
Right.
She was really torn up about it, and I was loving every second of it because, as you may have heard, the news of the week this week was basically it was all about the gayness of the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
for various reasons.
For a specific reason,
right? Because Chris Culliver, who got torched a few times in this game because he's a cornerback and a corner, and he plays on the defense of the 49ers, and he sort of got used a few times, which made me really happy. But he said earlier this week, one of the more ridiculous quotes that you might ever hear.
That in content is ridiculous, but is also just ridiculous in terms of its bizarre wording.
Yeah, exactly. So he said, ain't got no gay people on the team. They got to get up out of here if they do. That doesn't make any sense. Can't be with that sweet stuff. Get that sweet. I love that. It was so good.
He was telling this to Artie Lang because I guess they were talking about whether or not gay players would be welcome in the 49ers locker room. Evidently, Culliver does not feel that they should welcome gay players.
You would think that gay people would be welcome anywhere in San Francisco.
Correct.
Which my first thought, besides this being dumb for various reasons, is does he realize what team he's on?
I was going to say the only past experience that I have with football is the one time when I was a kid that I visited San Francisco. I was visiting a cousin who was at the time dying of AIDS with his partner, and we watched a 49ers football game. That is the only football game I had ever watched in my life before Brent started making me watch the Super Bowl. And so I was surprised that it was the 49ers that were having this problem. Because everyone that I know who's a 49ers fan, besides Jill, as it turns out, is gay.
Yeah, well, sure. Well, and I was... before this happened, was going to be cheering for the 49ers.
Right, well, we're in California.
We're in California, and also, I mean, being from Iowa, we don't have professional sports teams.
Right.
I love sports, though.
Sure.
So I oftentimes make my picks based on which players I sort of want to do unmentionable things to me.
Sure.
And in this game, it's Colin Kaepernick, who's the quarterback of the 49ers. But even that couldn't deter me from, ditching the 49ers midweek. And,
so true.
Going for the Ravens.
Heading for a team that represents one of the more depressing cities in America.
Totally.
So they really have very little going for them in the first place. I sort of feel like it was a mercy support.
Totally was.
But they, as it turns out, are like heroes of gay rights.
Yeah, Brendan Ian-Badejo, who is sort of long been a sort of marriage equality, very outspoken in favor of marriage equality, plays for the Ravens, and he sort of, obviously...
he was asked to comment on
he was asked to comment, and the reason that Culliver even sort of got asked anyway was because Brendan Ian-Badejo had been talking before the Super Bowl after they won about how he wanted to use the Super Bowl as a platform for marriage equality.